Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 415. Hope you're all doing great today. It is a crazy busy time in the tech world, as you may or may not know. Amazon had another huge Prime Day event last week. NVIDIA, the graphics chip maker, seems to be taking over the world. They inked even more partnerships with AI companies. Apple sold a bunch of iPhone 17s. Big shocker. And tech brands, of course, are gearing up for the holidays already, even though it's only mid-October. Anyhow, we have a great show planned for you this week. I'm really excited about this week's episode over the next hour. Before I tell you who's on standby, as I mentioned last week, I'm so thrilled that Norton, the leaders in cybersecurity, are now an official partner on Tech It Out. As you know, Norton has a suite of products to protect you and your identity. They have anti-malware, formerly known as antivirus, right? All kinds of malicious software they protect you from. LifeLock, personal protection, a virtual private network or VPN, so you can stay private when you're on the web and out of the eyes of nefarious types. They have a password manager and much more. And so Norton is now part of the Tech It Out family, along with another company that keeps you safe, Visa, whom we heard from last week when I interviewed Michael Nevsky from the company about the gig economy, how people like to be paid when they work for themselves. And you can hear that interview, by the way, on demand from your favorite podcast platform like Spotify or Apple, Amazon Audible, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spreaker, and so on. It's the October 3rd episode, or if you keep track of the Tech It Out numbers, it's episode 414. Speaking of Norton, in about 2 minutes from now, our first interview will be with one of the hosts of a new LifeLock show on YouTube. It's called Control Room. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'll introduce you to Shawnee in a moment, but we're going to talk about October being Cybersecurity Awareness Month, how AI is making things tougher for us, and how to fight back, which incidentally includes AI, actually, as it's baked into various Norton solutions, even though you don't need to be tech savvy to use them. Also this hour, tech lifestyle expert Mario Armstrong will join us to tell us what's new from HP for work and play, including portable monitors, which are becoming very trendy. We'll cover what they are and why they're popular today. Mario will also talk about how HP is leveraging AI to help us print what we want and not waste our ink and paper on things we don't. After that, and speaking of AI, boy, do you sense a theme here, folks? We'll talk about businesses that are embracing AI for productivity's sake and efficiency's sake, but interestingly, not fully trusting AI. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. We'll talk with the company SAS, a leading organization when it comes to data and AI, to hear the results of a recent survey about AI adoption in the workplace. All of this and more on a brand new Tech It Out. So let's officially kick things off with our first interview. October, as you may recall, is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, a great time to discuss some of the latest threats out there in cyberspace and, just as important, to go over ways to avoid becoming a victim, even if you're more tech shy than tech savvy. On the line to share some suggestions is Shawnee Delaney, co-host of a brand new 12-episode LifeLock series on YouTube called Control Room, which is very exciting for you, Shawnee. Thank you so much for your time and congrats.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Before we talk about October being Cybersecurity Awareness Month, tell us about Control Room. What's it all about?
So last year marked a record-shattering year for identity theft and fraud in the United States, impacting over 18 million Americans. In fact, identity theft incidents are now occurring every 4.9 seconds on average in the U.S. It's terrifying. Control Room is LifeLock's response to the rising identity threats, and I'm thrilled to be a part of this because the average person can't keep up with the myriad threats to them and their families. Heck, security professionals struggle as well. So we want to make sure everyone can have the knowledge to protect themselves. This is why LifeLock is rolling out a new YouTube series called Control Room. And I'll be co-hosting it, as you mentioned, with Tyler Gray, who's a former Army Ranger and Delta operator. And each week we'll sit down with some of the sharpest minds in cybersecurity, policy, and consumer protection to talk about what's really happening. America is under active attack, from nation states to fraud rings to organized criminal groups. It really touches everyone today. So this isn't just identity theft. It's deep fakes, account takeovers, business email compromise, medical and benefits fraud, data broker abuse. I could go on and on and on. So it really looks at the whole threat landscape. And for me, what is extra special about this series is that we've been able to bring in insider expertise, people I'm really excited about, coupled with real world stories, and all in plain English, so you don't have to be a tech whiz to understand. And the show covers how these attackers are reshaping how all of us live and work and trust, and what you can do about it right now.
Yeah.
So if you or someone you love wants practical advice, without the panic, I would love for people to check it out.
Awesome. All right. It's called Control Room. They can find it on YouTube. In fact, it's at youtube.com/LifeLock. That's the URL. So simply youtube.com/LifeLock. And as you said, the threats are growing, yet the answer is not to unplug and live like a Luddite. We need the internet. We need our devices in order to, work and communicate in today's day and age. So the answer isn't avoiding it all. It's just managing it with some help from you and your co-host, Tyler Gray. How do we tune in, and how often is the new show?
Yeah, so we are going to be dropping episodes weekly on YouTube, like you mentioned. You can also follow LifeLock on social media. You can subscribe to the LifeLock YouTube channel, and you'll get all the updates there.
Okay, awesome. So let's now pivot and talk about cybersecurity awareness. In October, again, as I mentioned, it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I guess it's as good a time as any to discuss it. Doesn't necessarily need to be tied to this month. It's a great reminder to go through a checklist to help protect yourself.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. October, as you said, for people who have never heard of this, is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And the way I like to describe it is it's kind of like the annual flu shot for your digital life.
Love that.
So for people who aren't familiar with it, this was launched in 2004 by the Department of Homeland Security and the National Cybersecurity Alliance. And it really is just a nationwide reminder to do the boring things that stop most attacks. Have strong, unique passwords, turn on updates, turn on MFA, back up your stuff. And then before you click, say, I'll verify, double check. It lands really perfectly before the holidays because we all know that phishing and travel and rushed decisions and, the holiday stress, everything's spiking. And so this is the busiest time of year for scammers. And so companies lean in really hard this month. Many of them will have weekly tip campaigns and speakers. I do many talks a week, short videos, and report a phish contest with prizes, things like that. So kind of like what you were saying, it's here to stress that cyber threats are no longer rare. They're not abstract. They're constant. They're personal, and they're increasingly convincing.
And they're not just hitting businesses or governments. It's happening to regular consumers. MFA stands for multi-factor authentication. That's when you get a one-time code sent to your mobile device that you also need to type in along with your password when you're trying to access your online account. It's an extra layer of protection. I like to say that MFA or multi-factor authentication combines something which is your password, with something you have, like your phone.
Yeah. And if I can add, I know, I touched on it being the boring stuff. Everyone's heard about how strong, unique passwords and all this stuff, and they kind of roll their eyes. But this is what threat actors really rely on. So if you just take a couple basic steps to make it harder for threat actors to target you, to steal your identity, it's kind of, I call it the security onion. You just add layer after layer, and it makes it harder for threat actors to go after you, and they'll go after the next person that has no protection.
No doubt. And AI, arguably, is making things worse for us, right? I mean, it's helping us on one end, but on the other end, empowering cyber criminals to write more convincing phishing emails that look more legit, that it's really from your bank when it's not, and other ways of targeting us. Is that fair? AI is helping
Absolutely.
These cyber criminals?
Absolutely. AI helps both sides. And the bottom line is people like to blame AI for some of this stuff, but AI didn't invent new cons. It just really turbocharged the old ones. When you look at it, you have to look at it as really a double-edged sword. So on one hand, it's helping cybersecurity experts analyze threats better and faster than ever. There's some incredible technology out there to help security teams. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, it's giving scammers really powerful new tools, and it's lowered the barrier to entry for anyone with a laptop and some motivation.
Yeah.
So when you think of scams, it's supercharged these scams. So cyber criminals can create deepfake voices or fake videos or phishing messages that are impossible or nearly impossible to tell from the real thing. And with that technology evolving every day, I mean, really, like you read the news every day, there's some news, something great. It just makes identity theft and fraud much easier to pull off and much harder for people to detect on their own.
Yeah, deep fakes, whether it's audio or video, can really sound or look like someone you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. The bottom line is what people need to realize, because I talk to a lot of people who say, I don't have social media or, I'm not online a lot. But the thing is, humans run on the same wiring as we always have before the advent of AI. We have curiosity, we have fear, we have ego, we have kindness. So AI learns those buttons and it presses them faster and better and at scale. So as humans, trust is our default setting. And what person doesn't trust what they see on the internet? Nearly everybody does. So AI exploits that trust with perfect mimicry. Like I mentioned, you've got those voice clones that sound like your boss or your loved ones, or DMs from a recruiter. And the tools that these AI tools that fraudsters are using to steal your identity and get you to click a link, these tools scrape your public footprint. They combine that with dark web hacks and leaks, and they generate messages that are so targeted at you, you are very, very, very likely to click on it because they know exactly what you like.
100%. More with Shawnee from Control Room on YouTube, a LifeLock series, when we return on Tech It Out.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. Before we continue on with Shawnee Delaney, co-host of the new LifeLock series on YouTube called Control Room. We do cover cybersecurity a lot on this program and how you could best protect yourself in the digital age, even if you're not super tech savvy. One part of the solution is securely shopping online. And Visa has made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years, as much as $10 billion, the company says. That's billion with a B, all to support the company's brand promise to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online or at retail using your Visa card. After all, there can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. And speaking of protection, let's continue on with Shawnee Delaney talking to us about a new series on YouTube called Control Room in partnership with LifeLock. Before the break, Shawnee, we were talking about how AI is aiding these cyber criminals to better target you and know more about you in order to better dupe you into separating you and your money. And that also includes deep fakes, right? They know what bank you use. So if you get a message from, say, Capital One and you don't bank there, you obviously aren't going to believe it. But if you get one from, BOA and that is your bank, you're that much more likely to fall for it. Or as you said, we've heard of deep fakes from your boss where you're getting, I'm using air quotes here, a call from your boss that says, hey, we need to wire this company some money. And if it sounds like your boss or looks like your boss, you may be more likely to do it. And that AI is scrubbing, as you said, that info to better target you. Scary times indeed. So I want to talk with you more about how we can fight back. We are chatting with Shawnee Delaney, co-host of a new 12-episode series on YouTube in partnership with LifeLock called Control Room. Head over to youtube.com/LifeLock. That's youtube.com/LifeLock. And so, Shawnee, you've already suggested a few things we can do to fight back, even if we're not that tech savvy, like enabling multi-factor authentication, sometimes called two-factor authentication, where you not only need your password, but another code sent to you to type in to prove it's really you. What else could you recommend, including software?
I would say anything you can throw at the problem, throw at it. I would say there's a lot of things, obviously, you can do about it. And everything you add just makes the protection that much stronger. So first, stay skeptical. Slow down. When you get that message or the phone call or anything like that, don't click anything in panic. When you get these messages, if anything touches money or access or people, Or if anything makes you feel a big emotion like fear or anxiety or stress, I want you to pause and then call back or text back on a number that you already have, not the one that's through the message. So verify in a different way.
Right.
Second, like you mentioned, there are a lot of tools out there, but there are things with AI powered protection. So AI helping, not just being bad. Got things like Norton scam protection, tools like LifeLock that are really incredible that can help scan for signs your information is being used to open accounts or things like that. You can freeze your credit. I do that. I freeze my credit. I freeze my kids' credit. It takes a minute. It's super, super easy. Again, the eye roll here, but use really strong, unique passwords and a password manager. And then really just kind of to wrap that up, like you can use a simple script and work this out with your family where you know what to say when something happens. Because it's not a question of if it's going to hit you or if you're going to get, everyone listening has gotten a scam something. So use the script to outrun your amygdala, the part of your brain that processes these emotions, and say, I will verify and I'll get right back to you. Practice saying, I will verify and get right back to you.
These are all great tips. Yeah, I like that one also. And I had spoken to somebody from Visa about this, that they have a word that they use. If they get contacted by someone in their family saying, help, I need money or whatever, you ask them, what's the word? What's our family word? And if they don't know it, then you know it's fake. I love that. I like not panicking when you get these messages, because often they are playing on our fear, and urgency is always, you got to change your information now or something bad's going to happen to you. They often use that as leverage. Just take a breath. I like your idea of contacting the organization you think is contacting you with a number you already have for them. So yeah, don't believe the number that's in that text message to say your bank, but pull out your card, your bank card, and look at the number on the back of the card, and that's the one to call. And then finally, yeah, LifeLock, an identity theft protection and monitoring service, is really helpful as well. It can monitor your information and your credit files for any signs of identity theft or any suspicious activity and notify you, which is awesome. All right. And then finally, Shawnee, so again, the new series on YouTube called Control Room. If you're able to jot this down, it's simply youtube.com/LifeLock. That's youtube.com/LifeLock. Or if you're driving and you just need to remember, just go to YouTube and do a search for Control Room. Hit that subscribe button.
Absolutely. And I really think if you have loved ones who are especially not cyber savvy, share this with them and help them understand how they can better protect themselves.
All great tips. Thank you so much for your time, and congrats again. And to Tyler Gray, your co-host, on launching Control Room. All the best. Thanks so much again.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, awesome. Again, that was Shawnee from Control Room in partnership with LifeLock. We have a lot more Tech It Out to get to after this short break. We're going to chat with Mario Armstrong, a tech lifestyle expert who's been on this show many times before. We're going to chat about HP's products and how they're using AI. And then after that, on this program, SAS will join us, SAS. We're going to hear about a new AI study, this time focusing on businesses. So it's about how companies are leveraging AI to compete more efficiently, boost productivity, doing more with less, all that kind of stuff. But interestingly, there's a disconnect between using AI and trusting it. So we're going to unravel some of that with our guest from SAS a little bit later on in this show. I'm your host, Mark Saltzman. If you want to touch base on social media, you can find me on all the big platforms. It's MarkSaltzman. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. If you want to make your home and office future ready, we have the perfect guest to help you figure out what you need and why. On the line, we've got digital lifestyle expert Mario Armstrong back on the show with an exclusive look at HP's brand new tech lineup, featuring devices designed to help you work, play, and create smarter, not harder. Hey, Mario, good to chat with you again. My tech brother from another mother.
Yeah, that's right, man. We're like the two techies in a pond, man.
Awesome.
We get it done. We get a lot covered. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
What are you doing today in New York in the studio there?
Yeah, we're looking at a lot of technology. I partnered up with HP because they have some new announcements and new products that are really, really great in terms of like fitting our work style, the way we work now. Like obviously multitasking has been around, but it's here to stay. And people are doing more, especially at home. Like you're running Zoom calls, you got spreadsheets up, you may be editing something. And so there's just a lot more hybrid work that I'm also doing myself. I would imagine you're feeling the same thing.
Yeah, I've been noticing that same trend, not just a hybrid work environment where you may be working partially at home, partially in an office, but also hybrid in the sense that you're using the same device for work and play, or to manage your personal life and to tackle your professional jobs as well.
And one thing that drives me crazy is like at home, I have a dual screen monitor, but when I travel, I only have my laptop. And I'm looking for that second screen because I need that space. So my first product that I really like for remote workers, creators, people on the go, the HP Series 5 has the Pro 14-inch portable monitor. So this is a dual screen that you can set up with you anywhere. It's like as thin as a tablet that you're taking with you. Super lightweight. It's got a durable cover, which, by the way, can be used as a mouse pad, which is great. And then it lets you also easily tilt between angles so that you can get the right angle that you want. But I mostly love it because I can take it with me, whether I'm in a hotel room or, even at a coffee shop. I'm not going to be there for 4 hours, but just if I can really get good work done by having that dual screen, that's really great. The other thing that I've noticed in terms of hybrid work for me is having multiple things on those screens. So I was not aware of this monitor until they started really talking about it, but it's the HP Series 5 49-inch. This is a conference monitor.
49 inches.
This is a dashboard. You're in command center control.
That's bigger than many people's TVs.
This is true. So it's kind of got that nice 16 by 9 feel to it. So it has a lot of smart features. It's got a camera built in right at the top, but you can control 2 computers with just one keyboard and mouse with this, which is great. No need for a foot pedal for any of that switching or any of those types of things. So I thought that was really nice.
All right. So first, going back to that portable monitor, love these. I've been seeing them a lot more in the wild.
Yes.
And depending what it's plugged into.
Which was like a new thing to deal with. Like it's better than what I used to see out, though. I used to see people bringing full monitors out.
Oh, my gosh. Well, like you said, they're as thin as a tablet or a little bit thicker, but the idea is that you throw them in your backpack, your laptop bag, along with your laptop, and it really doesn't add much more bulk or weight.
Right.
And depending what it's plugged into, you don't need power. It gets the power from the device itself.
Great point.
I saw a dude at the airport playing a game from his phone, like a racing game, but he was in the lounge playing on like a 14-inch portable monitor, and I'm like, this guy's got it going on. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, definitely for productivity purposes, it's nice to have a second monitor, whether you're using them as 2 separate monitors or you're mirroring something from a smaller screen onto a bigger one. So really great stuff. And then pivoting to a 49-inch professional monitor is awesome. So that's, I guess, ideal for projects like video editing and presentations where you may want multiple windows open.
Yeah, or you have video calls going at the same time. But you also want to be able to pull up the spreadsheet and see your calendar. It's just really great to have that multiplicity of things happening on one monitor.
A multitasking marvel. Love it.
That's right.
And I understand, Mario, you've got another solution for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for like video editing, presentations, or scrolling spreadsheets. A lot of times people think like big gives you more, but in this case, we're actually going small. I love the HP Ultra Fast Scroll wireless mouse. Now, the model number on this is 785M. It's the world's first battery-free wireless mouse, by the way. It's got a side scroll wheel, which really makes it easier to scroll the screen, whether that's web pages or spreadsheets or the video timeline. It recharges in just 3 minutes, which I love. And it has these customizable scroll speeds, too, for all types of different work. So very cool, very functional. And I think a lot of times maybe we overlook the mouse, where it's like, no, they can do a lot more if you need that productivity or if you need that efficiency.
And Mario, when you say battery-free, you mean no more of those AA batteries or AAAs that we have to put underneath and then you have to go buy more?
That is correct.
This is all rechargeable.
That's right. It's all rechargeable.
Love it. All right. Now let's chat, Mario. We are chatting with Mario Armstrong, tech lifestyle expert who's a regular on this program. Let's pivot and talk about one 2-letter phrase or acronym that we've been hearing a lot about these days.
Oh, I wonder what you're going to ask me.
AI, of course. Yeah. Shocker. Big shocker.
The minute you said 2 letters, I was like, oh, here it comes.
Okay, so obviously artificial intelligence, big buzzword right now. How is HP leveraging AI for printing?
They're doing it for the first time with the HP Envy Photo 7900, their printer. This is an all-in-one printer, by the way, the 7900. You can use this printer for printing school projects, for all your kids' stuff, or vacation photos. The printer also uses photo-enhanced ink and true-to-screen color technology, which really makes everything look vibrant. It's almost like it's going to print like what you see on your phone. But with the AI built in, what's really game-changing to me anyway is that your prints are automatically formatted. So you know how you struggle, go back and forth, you're like wasting ink, wasting paper, wasting time. The AI really helps you understand exactly what you're looking to format and then do that for you perfectly.
Yeah.
So you reduce all that trial and error, I guess is really what I want to say it's helping you.
I saw a demo of this at HP's headquarters in Silicon Valley last fall at an event called HP Imagine, where they showed how AI could be used to print less of the things you don't want and more of what you do want. Yeah, it intelligently removed everything that we didn't want. And it was a great use of AI. Good example, good concrete example of how AI can help you save time and money and aggravation. I remember a few other things as well with these printers. There's an app, an HP app, where families can easily create custom cards and edit photos and make personalized keepsakes right from their phone, as you were mentioning, turning printing into something a little bit more creative, flexing your creativity, something fun to do with the whole family as well, maybe on a rainy Sunday afternoon. And I know with their printers and for those crafts, it has a separate tray for photo paper, so you can switch from documents to photos without juggling paper. And HP is one of the best companies I know when it comes to eco-friendly products and packaging. I know some of these printers made with at least 60% of recycled plastic, so it's a greener choice as well. Very cool. Where can we find more info?
Just go to the website. Go to hp.com. A lot of details are there.
All right, hp.com for more info and at Mario Armstrong on the socials. Thanks so much for your time, Mario. Have a great rest of your day.
Always good to chat with you, my friend. Take care. Talk to you soon.
We're using AI, but we may not trust it. We'll uncover what SAS found when we return on Tech It Out.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. If surveys of our Tech It Out listeners are any indication, many work in the IT space. They're often decision makers at businesses big and small. If that's you, no doubt your company is leveraging AI to help get more done in less time. But how much do organizations trust AI? There are some surprising findings from a new global survey commissioned by SAS, a global leader in data and AI, and conducted by research firm IDC, as we're going to learn about now with Marinela Profi. She's global AI strategy lead at SAS. Welcome to the show, Marinela. Good to talk to you.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Let's just start off with the fact that AI is an increasingly essential tool for businesses. How quickly has the technology grown, and what trends for AI are you seeing right now?
Well, definitely from a growth perspective is a market that if you think, from the 2010 when we had the first big data boom and explosion, it has grown so much. We're now projecting to move into a growth from billions to trillions of dollars over the next decade. There's been so much innovation around the amount of data, moving from traditional AI to generative AI to now the AI agents. So these digital systems that have the ability to not just make a prediction, right, or a classification, but they're able to make a decision and act on it in an autonomous way. So really, AI is entering the workspace, our life in many different ways, and sometimes becoming invisible in those tasks or processes where we don't even see it. So the goal of this study that we conducted and you just mentioned was exactly to understand the use, impact, and most importantly, trustworthiness of data and AI.
Right, because the two don't necessarily go hand in hand. So many organizations are using AI, but I'm interested to know how many have questions about its accuracy, biases. There's a few things I'm sure we're going to get to. So with that in mind, tell us about this Global State of Data and AI survey. What was the main goal of the research? To assess trustworthiness?
Yeah, absolutely. So we did survey more than 2,000 business and tech leaders from all over the world to basically benchmark their feelings on AI trust and innovation. So we covered a lot of ground, but the main goal was to essentially find out what is their use, what is the impact, and most importantly, what is the connection and correlation between how people are using it, to what extent, and the trust or the trustworthiness that actually these systems have. And the findings were impressive.
Yeah, let's get to them. What were maybe the most surprising findings from this survey?
Well, the most surprising finding was, first of all, the fact that generative AI is trusted more than machine learning, right? The study found out that it's trusted not just like a little bit more, but like 200% more than machine learning. And as probably listeners know, machine learnings are algorithms that are mathematically proven, explainable, so technically should be more trusted. Like we have all the elements to say that these algorithms are trusted and reliable and controllable, versus generative AI hallucinates. And so one of the most important findings is that generative AI is winning the trust game, not because it's more accurate, but because it feels more human. So It listens, it remembers, and even if sometimes hallucinates facts, people are drawn to that interaction. And so it's really interesting how we're seeing that trust intact. Used to be about precision, and today it's about, I would say, presence and understanding, and how much it feels like us, right? So that was one of the top findings of the study.
That's fair, because generative AI, not only does it generate content that you ask it to generate, but it also converses with you in a very natural and human-like way. So perhaps that's why we inherently trust it more, because it doesn't sound robotic. It's not just text on a screen either. It's something that almost feels human. So I guess with that comes some blind trust or faith in the answers that we're getting back. Interesting. And as we move to agentic AI, as you touched on, where it can actually make decisions for you, hopefully with still a human approving that decision that's made before it's executed. But that can get scary if we are blindly trusting AI and then the decisions are made too.
With agentic AI, the most important piece becomes exactly the ability to put safeguards and governance and guardrails around it, right? The study, what showed is that there is a gap between AI optimism and AI responsibility. And that gap is where reputation gets lost. So organizations want to benefit of AI, but many skip the hard work of ensuring fairness, sustainability, and control. And the more we start relying on the systems to make decisions with us or for us, that type of shortcut might save time now, but it costs trust later. So that's why governance, explainability, and ethics aren't just nice to have. I like to say that they are the infrastructure of sustainable AI.
Yeah, fair. We are chatting with Marinela Profi, Global AI Strategy Lead at SAS, a global leader in data and AI. We're learning the results of a survey called the Global State of Data and AI, where about 2,000 businesses across the world, in fact, were surveyed on their willingness to use AI, and trust AI is really at the core of it. Marinela, I want to talk about these guardrails when we return on Tech It Out. Why it's important to add AI safeguards. I mean, on one hand, I get it, but would be curious to know what Marinela's take on that is, given the data that they uncovered from this survey, and also that AI can be trusted, but is it always trustworthy? Interesting discussion, no doubt. So we're going to get to that, especially when it comes to business, right? While we do cover a lot of consumer tech on this program, primarily, I'd say, I know our listenership surveys find that a lot of people from businesses tune in, and that includes decision makers and IT experts and all that. So I wanted to invite SAS onto the program. Stick with us. More Tech It Out coming right up after this short break.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
We're chatting with Marinela Profi, Global AI Strategy Lead at SAS, a leading data and AI company, about the adoption of AI in the workplace. You mentioned ethics, Marinela. So let's talk about these guardrails that I've already hinted at that I hope are in place. Why is it important to add these AI safeguards?
Well, Mark, Before the study, I would have said, it's important for many reasons. But now with the study, we actually have data that are proving us that the most ethical AI is turning out to be the most profitable. Leaders that are investing in ethical guardrails are 1.6 times more likely to report high expected ROI from their AI projects. And so, right. And you know why? I think because trust isn't just a feeling, it's a function of design, and which is the design that drives results. And so really now I would say that it's important also, not just because it's just better and more trusted, but also it makes you more money, higher expected ROI.
And obviously, that's the reason why these companies are leveraging AI, is to find efficiencies, boost productivity, especially with major competition, and trying to appease everybody, including shareholders. So all makes sense to me. So I guess the $1 million question as we wrap up then, Marinela, is AI may be trusted, but is it always trustworthy?
Well, yeah, that is $1 million question.
Or $1 billion question.
Or trillion in the next decade. So what we found out from the study is that trust isn't always based on truth, right? So people trust generative AI because it feels human, not because it's more accurate and explainable. And so what we're seeing is that people either over-trust unproven systems or under-trust reliable ones, and it's costing them dearly. And so governance, and that's dangerous, right? We need to shift from blind trust to earned trust. And that is what governance, transparency, and accountability really allows to make these systems, earn the trust of our decision-making and the outcomes for business. So to make it trustworthy, pieces like governance, transparency, and accountability are really what make the difference. Because again, trust is a feeling. Trustworthiness is a design choice. And that is where organizations that are making these choices are proven to be more successful in their AI adoption and implementation journey.
Is there a place where our listeners can go for more information, maybe a deeper dive on this study, Marinela?
Absolutely, yeah. On www.sas.com/AI impact. And you can find all the information, just a deep dive study with all the data. There is some breakdowns that I find really interesting by industry. So if the listeners are operating or working in a specific industry, there is more data specifically to their industry.
All right, sas.com/AI impact. Excellent. Marinela, thank you so much for your time. Very interesting, insightful information here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Hey, we had a pretty diverse show, if I may say so myself. We first talked with one of the co-hosts of the new Control Room show on YouTube in partnership with LifeLock. We then shifted gears and spoke with tech lifestyle expert Mario Armstrong, who chatted with us about some HP hardware, some new printers and monitors for work and play. And then finally, a SAS AI study that we just heard the results of, and how there is a disconnect between using AI and fully trusting it, interestingly. Speaking of LifeLock, I wanted to just remind you that Norton, which is part of the LifeLock family, is now a partner on Tech It Out. Thrilled to have them on board. Norton, of course, protects your PC, Mac, and mobile devices from viruses and other kinds of malware or malicious software. And LifeLock takes it a step further, constantly monitoring for the fraudulent use of your personal info, from your social security number to your bank accounts. If a threat is detected, you receive an alert. If the worst happens and your identity is stolen, a dedicated US-based identity restoration specialist will be there to personally help fix it. Plus, with the $1 million protection package, you get coverage for stolen funds and expenses. Norton 360 with LifeLock gives you the power to defend your entire digital life. Visit norton.com today. That's NORTON.com. Thank you to Visa as well, and to Sandisk. Speaking of protecting your devices, also don't forget about protecting your files. There's no worse feeling knowing that you're working on something for work, like a presentation, or you're a student and you're working on a book report, and all of a sudden that file is gone. Something happens with your PC. So I always trust Sandisk external storage like USB drives and micro SD cards, solid state drives, really great stuff. In fact, it's fast enough to work off the drives themselves, not just use it as storage, to sock away irreplaceable photos and home movies and all that, but to actually work off the the drive as if it was internal. So great stuff there. A lot of deals this time of year at sandisk.com and places like Amazon. Thank you once again for tuning in to Tech It Out. Hope you enjoyed the program. If you want to reach out on social media, it's Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. And you can find me on X, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And I look forward to catching up with you next weekend for another brand new episode of Tech It Out.